Forgo the money venture for an adventure. Ventures only succeed if we make money. Adventures succeed regardless.
So that's a quote from Simon Sinek. And I have to be honest, when I first read that in our research stack for today, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit.
You rolled your eyes, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a pretty cynical start for our deep dive.
Well, it just sounds like something you'd say when you've already made your millions, right? Oh, don't worry about the money, just have an adventure. But for the rest of us, the rent is due on the first. If my venture doesn't make money, I'm in real trouble.
So is Sinek just being poetic here, or is there an actual strategy we can
Oh,
use?
it's definitely more than poetry. But I get the skepticism. I really do. It sounds like a
Oh,
bumper sticker until you actually dig into the mechanics of it. What we're unpacking today isn't just have fun. It's a specific strategic framework. It's called the Elegant Adventure.
the elegant adventure. It sounds like a travel agency for billionaires.
It does, doesn't it? But it's actually a blend of modern business strategy.
Yeah.
Guys like Cynic and Seth Godin and ancient Stoic philosophy. And the reason we need it is because the alternative, the venture mindset, is making us miserable.
Okay, so let's define the problem first. When Sinek talks about a venture, what? What specifically is he targeting?
A venture is an undertaking where the entire value is defined by the outcome.
Mm.
It's binary.
Right.
You either hit the number or you don't. You get the promotion or you don't. You win the gold medal or you lose.
Which feels like just normal life.
It feels normal, but think about the emotional cost. If your self-worth is tied to an outcome you can't fully control, like the stock market or what a hiring manager thinks, or I don't know, whether video goes viral, you're living in a state of chronic low-level panic. You're building your house on sand.
Yeah, you're constantly checking the tide. I definitely know that feeling. It's that tightness in your chest when you hit refresh on the browser.
Exactly. That is the venture tax. Now, the adventure is different. Sinek argues that an adventure succeeds simply by being undertaken. The metric isn't external validation, it's internal evolution. What did you learn? Who did you become?
Okay, but hold on. Let's go back to my bakery example. If I open a bakery, that's my adventure, and nobody buys the bread, and I go bankrupt. I mean, I learned a lot, sure, but I'm still broke. Are you saying I should just be happy about that?
No, nobody is saying you should be happy about going broke. But here's the nuance. If you're in venture mode, the bankruptcy means you are a failure. You're crushed. You might never try again because the pain of that external judgment is just too high.
Okay.
But in adventure mode, the bankruptcy is just data. It's a plot twist in the story. You say, okay, the market didn't like that recipe or the location was wrong. Because your self-worth wasn't staked on the profit margin, you keep your capacity to think clearly. You don't panic. And because you don't panic, you're much more likely to start a second business that does work.
So the adventure mindset actually makes you better at the venture part.
That is the paradox. When you stop obsessing over the outcome, you usually get better outcomes.
This feels like we're drifting into philosophy. The notes mention Stoicism. Is this where that comes in?
It is. This maps perfectly onto what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught. He didn't use the word entrepreneur, obviously, but he talked about the 3 areas of training for a resilient mind.
3 areas. Okay, walk me through them.
The first, and the most important for us, is the discipline of desire inversion.
Desire and aversion. Sounds like a Jane Austen novel.
It's a bit drier than that. Epictetus says we make ourselves miserable because we desire things that aren't up to us, and we have an aversion to things that we can't stop,
Like what?
like reputation. If I desire that you think I'm smart right now, I am now a slave to your opinion, I'm anxious, I'm trying to impress you. But if I change my desire and say, I desire to prepare well for this deep dive, well, that's entirely up to me. I can control that.
So it's about moving the target.
It's about moving the target from the result to the process. If you're in venture mode, you desire the applause. If you're in adventure mode, you desire to give a great performance.
I see. So if I don't get the applause, I'm not destroyed because I hit my own target of giving a great performance.
Precisely. And that leads to the other 2 disciplines. Impulses acting from a place of purpose rather than reacting to panic and judgment, keeping your head clear. When you aren't terrified of failing the venture, your judgment gets razor sharp.
You know, the research stack uses this word elegance a lot. The elegant adventure. I usually think of elegance as, a fancy dress or a champagne flute. But they're using it differently here, aren't they?
Very differently. In systems theory and engineering, elegance means simplicity. An elegant solution is one that achieves the maximum effect with the minimum moving parts. It's all about efficiency.
There was a great image in the notes about a runner, a barefoot runner.
Yes. This is a perfect visual for the difference between venture and adventure. Imagine two runners. The venture runner is obsessed with beating everyone else. He's grimacing, his fists are clenched, he's pounding the pavement, he is fighting the road.
I see that guy every morning. He looks absolutely miserable.
He is fighting the system. Now look at the adventure runner, in this case, the barefoot guy. He isn't trying to beat the pavement. He's trying to align with it. He's gliding, he's finding the flow, he's actually going faster, but it looks like he's doing less work.
Because he's not leaking energy.
Right. Inelegance is waste. It's friction. When we're in venture mode, worrying about our quarterly returns or our status, we're tensing up. We are leaking energy into anxiety instead of putting it into the work.
Okay, but this is where I have to play devil's advocate, because gliding sounds nice, but isn't success supposed to be hard? I mean, we have a quote here from Pele, the soccer god. He said, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice."
It's a great quote.
It is, but sacrifice doesn't sound like gliding. It sounds like grinding. How do you square the elegant adventure with the reality that hard stuff is, well, hard?
It's a common confusion. We think adventure means easy or lazy. It doesn't. The adventure mindset is incredibly high effort. But, and this is the key, the effort isn't a cost.
What do you mean by that?
In a venture, the work is a tax you pay. You suffer through the late nights so you can get the bonus. You hate the training, but you want the medal. In an adventure, you love the game itself. The effort is the reward. You aren't sacrificing your life for a future payoff. You're living your life right now, in the work.
So you're sweating just as much, but you aren't resentful about it.
You're not fighting yourself.
Yeah.
And this brings us to what I think is probably the stickiest concept in this entire deep dive is it totally changed how I view high performance.
Ah, you're talking about Coach Bud Winters.
I am.
This part just blew my mind. So Bud Winters was this legendary track coach. He produced, what, like 27 world records?
Something incredible like that, yeah. And he had a rule for his sprinters, the fastest humans on Earth. He told them explicitly not to give 100%.
Which is sacrilege. Every coach I ever had screamed, "Give me 110%.
Of course. But Winters understood physiology. He told his runners to run at 4/5 effort. That's 80%.
Why? Why would you want to run slower to win?
Because you don't run slower, you run faster. Think about how muscles work. You have agonists and antagonists. Your biceps pull your arm in, your triceps push it out. If you are trying too hard, if you're straining for that 100%, you often fire both muscle groups at the same time.
You're fighting your own body.
Or locking up, you're creating internal friction. Winter saw that when runners tried to go all out, their form broke down. Their jaws clenched, their shoulders rose up, they were grinding.
The venture runner.
Exactly. But when he told them to run at 80%, the tension dropped, the antagonistic muscles relaxed, the stride became fluid, and the stopwatch showed they were actually hitting their top speeds.
That is wild. So by mentally dialing it back, they physically performed better.
He called the other state Peter Perfect syndrome. Try to be perfect makes you slow.
It reminds me of that John Wooden quote in the notes, "Be quick, but never in a hurry."
Yes. That is the distinction we need to make. Quick is physical. It's focus. It's intensity. Hurry is emotional. It's anxiety. It's fear.
I feel like hurry is just fear moving fast.
That's a great way to put it. The adventure mindset lets you be quick to have that 80% intensity without the hurry of worrying about the outcome.
So if I'm sitting at my desk writing a report or I'm in a sales meeting and I feel myself clenching up trying to force a result,
You're at 100%. You're grinding. You need to dial it back to 80. Relax your jaw. Focus on the form, not the finish line.
right,
You'll write a better report. You'll close more sales.
because I'm not leaking energy into panic.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm sold on the 80% rule. I'm going to try to glide more, but I have to pivot here. Because everything we've talked about so far, my anxiety, my performance, my 80%, it's very self-centered.
It is.
It's all about me feeling better. Is the elegant adventure just a self-help hack? Or is there something bigger here? Because usually when we talk about Stoics, we talk about duty.
That's a critical correction. If you stop at feeling good, you're not doing Stoicism. You're just doing comfort. The Stoics were obsessed with justice.
Justice.
For them, justice wasn't just a legal term. It was the North Star of character. It means doing the right thing, sticking up for the little guy, even when it's a bad venture, even when it costs you.
There's a story in the notes about Cato. Now, I know Cato as the old guy who fought Caesar. But this is a story about him as a kid.
Yes, Cato the Younger. Even as a child, he was, well, intense. The story goes that he was at a birthday party. a quintessential social event. And some of the older, bigger boys started bullying a younger kid. They actually locked this poor child in a dark chamber in the house.
Just tormenting him.
Right. Now, the smart venture for a kid is to stay out of it. Don't anger the big kids. Protect your status.
Keep your head down.
Cato didn't do that. He realized what was happening. And he didn't just go get an adult. He physically threw aside the boy guarding the door and pulled the victim out. He took him home.
He didn't calculate the odds.
No, because the adventure wasn't about being popular at the party. It was about being a person of character. The source notes highlight that this specific trait of Cato, this obsession with justice, is what George Washington modeled his life on.
Washington was a Cato fanboy.
Huge fanboy. There was a play about Cato that was popular in the 1700s, and Washington quoted it constantly. He had this vision, which he borrowed it from Scripture, that success looks like this. Everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid.
None to make him afraid.
That is the ultimate goal of the elegant adventure. It's not just that I am not afraid of the market, it's that we build a world where nobody is afraid of bullies or tyrants or injustice.
So it connects the personal to the political.
It connects the bee to the hive. Marcus Aurelius said, "We are all bees of the same hive." You can't have a healthy bee in a sick hive. If you're just using these tools to get rich while your neighbors are suffering, you have failed the adventure.
This reminds me of the section on Thich Nhat Hanh. I think his story is probably the most powerful example of turning a failed venture into a life-changing adventure.
It really is. So Thich Nhat Hanh was a Buddhist monk in Vietnam during the war. He tried desperately to stop the fighting. He was an activist for peace.
And from a venture perspective, he failed.
Completely. The war raged on. And worse, because he refused to pick sides. Both sides hated him. He was exiled from his own country. He lost his home, his community, his proximity to his people.
That's the moment where most people would break. You'd become bitter. He'd say, I tried to do good, and look what it got me.
Exactly. You look at the external outcome and say, I am a failure. But he didn't. He embraced the adventure. He realized that his mission wasn't tied to the soil of Vietnam. It was tied to the alleviation of suffering. So he built Plum Village in France. He taught mindfulness to the West. He ended up influencing millions of people he never would have met if he stayed in Vietnam.
He found the flow. He didn't fight the exile. He used it.
And he had this profound insight. Punishing the other person is self-punishment.
Unpack that a bit.
When we're in venture mode, life is transactional. If you hurt me, I need to balance the ledger. I need to hurt you back. But that requires holding on to anger. It requires tension. It's inelegant. It wastes so much energy. Thich Nhat Hanh realized that helping others, even those who hurt you, is actually the ultimate form of self-preservation.
Because you aren't carrying the poison anymore.
Right. His adventure was to be a light, regardless of where the lantern was placed.
That brings us to a practical question about time. We've talked about 80% effort. We've talked about justice. But we're recording this deep dive, and based on the notes, today is January 27th.
Late January.
The graveyard of New Year's resolutions.
It is. The gym is starting to empty out. The diet apps are getting deleted.
So why does this happen? We all started with such good intentions 27 days ago.
It happens because we treat resolutions as ventures. I will lose 20 pounds. I will write 50 pages. Those are rigid outcomes.
And if you miss a day...
If you miss a day, the venture has failed. The streak is broken. You look at the data, you see a red X, and you judge yourself. You say, well, I blew it. Might as well eat the whole pizza.
The all-or-nothing trap.
Exactly. But Seneca, the Roman philosopher, had a really interesting take on this. He talked about fickleness.
Usually being fickle is bad. It means you're flaky.
Right. But Seneca argues that the real danger is lacking the fickleness to change a bad path. He says we live as we have begun simply because that's how it's done. We stick to the mistake because of sunk costs.
We're afraid to pivot.
Yes. But the elegant adventure requires the willingness to pivot. If your resolution isn't working, don't just quit. Change the method. Experiment.
So how do we reframe a resolution as an adventure?
An adventure is about the commitment to show up, not the commitment to a specific result today. If you miss the gym on Tuesday, the adventure isn't over. You just wake up Wednesday and go. You can't fail an adventure as long as you are still moving.
I love that. It takes the pressure off the streak.
The notes have a great quote from Brendan Burchard about the clean slate.
Yeah, tell me about that.
He says, we need to realize that every morning the slate is clean. It doesn't matter what you did or didn't do yesterday. The sun came up, the world reset. You can decide, today is the day I live the adventure.
There is that old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
And the sources update that. The best time to demand the best for and of yourself was a while ago. The second best time is right now.
It's forgiving, but it's also demanding. It says, okay, you messed up. Start now.
Start now. Don't wait for the next new year. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. That's Peter Perfect thinking again. Just start moving at 80%.
As we wrap this up, I want to leave listeners with the central metaphor from the source material because I think it ties all these threads together perfectly.
Yeah.
The lantern and the light.
It's a beautiful image. The source says, the venture is just the lantern. Think of the lantern as the container. It's your job title. It's your bank account. It's the awards on your shelf.
The stuff you can polish.
The stuff you can polish, the stuff other people can see. But the adventure is the light inside. It is your curiosity, your character, your willingness to help the hive.
And the trap is?
The trap is that we spend our whole lives polishing the lantern. We want the brass to shine. We want a bigger lantern than the neighbor, but we forget to put any oil in it. We forget to light the flame.
And a polished lantern with no light is just a paperweight.
It's useless. But here is the thing. You can have a dented, scratched, beat-up lantern. Maybe your career didn't go as planned. Maybe you didn't make the millions. But if there's a roaring fire inside, if you're engaged and curious and kind, you will light up the path for everyone around you.
Focus on the flame, not the finish.
Exactly. Don't let the market determine your worth. William James said, act as if what you do makes a difference.
Because it does.
It does. Even if the venture fails, the adventure matters.
I want to end with a challenge for everyone listening. It comes from Cervantes, of all people. Tell me thy company, and I'll tell you what thou art.
It's the ultimate reality check.
Look at the people you spend your time with. Are they obsessed with polishing their lanterns? Are they stressed, anxious, checking their metrics every 5 minutes? Or are they adventurers? Are they curious? Are they gliding?
Emotional contagion is real. If you hang out with people who are in venture panic, you will catch it. If you hang out with people who are on the elegant adventure, you'll learn to glide.
So find your squad, dial your effort back to 80%, and stop fighting the road.
And we'll see you out there.
Thanks for diving in with us.